Hi guys, good morning. I hope your CAT preparation is right on track and the news that the CAT is now a 2-hour exam is only good news for you, right? So we have been discussing CAT papers and now we are going to continue with CAT 2004, the DILR section. We've already done half of this section yesterday and today we are going to do the other half. So a quick introduction. Hi, I'm Munira Lokhandwala and I'm Calcutta alumna, a serial 100 percentiler in CAT and a 99 percentiler in GMAT. I also have a CAT verbal book published by Wiley and available on Amazon. Besides the Unacademy YouTube Crack Cat channel, you can also find me on the Unacademy app. So first of all, go to the Play Store, find the app. You have to search for Unacademy Learning app and install it. And within that, you have to go for the Plus CAT courses, right? Plus CAT courses are really great structured and well delivered courses. You also can use the special classes and free courses. We have more than 30-40 videos, live videos every day. So there's enough choice for anyone who's serious about his or her preparation, right? Um, which subscription to exactly go for, we can discuss towards the end of the class. You can use my code Munira10 to get a great discount, right? So cool, let's now do the puzzle that I gave you all yesterday. You have these numbers, right? 1, 5, 6, 7, etc. And they are supposed to be placed in 9 circles. 9 numbers, 9 circles, right? So this is your first circle, second number, third number, so on. You have 9 such numbers and there are 9 circles. Okay. Now you have to place them in such a way the average of the first 3 is the same as the average of the second 3 is the same as the average of the third 3. So if the 3 averages are equal, right? If the 3 averages are equal, that means that the 3 sums will also be equal, right? So the sum of, let's say, if these numbers are x1, x2, x3, then x1 plus x2 plus x3 will be the same as x4 plus x5 plus x6 will be the same as x7 plus x8 plus x9. Right? All of these 3 are same, which means that if I find the total sum and find out the division by 3, right? If the total sum, let's say, that is 300, if I just divide by 3, then the sum of any 3 of them hence should be 100 because the 3 are equal sums. I'm dividing the total into 3 equal sums, right? So let's find the total. This is 1 and 19 and 32, 46, 46 and 48 and 17, you get 111. Which means that each of the 3 numbers has to add up to 111 divided by 3, which is 37. And if the 2 of the numbers are 13 and 17, which means these two add up to 30, the third number has to add up to 7. Right? So great. Let's move on. So we did a lot of one marker yesterday, right? I hope you all remember that CAT 2004 had some 1 mark questions and some 2 mark questions, right? And the 26 questions, first 26 were 1 markers, out of which 6 were data sufficiency. We're doing some of the data sufficiency today. And the remaining 12 were 2 markers, right? So let's start off with the data sufficiency, guys. I hope you all are very conversant of how the data sufficiency works. We'll quickly go through the decision tree that you have to do, right? Whenever you're working with a data sufficiency set. You first start off by looking at the stem, the question, right? The main question. You understand that. And then you look at statement 1 alone. You have to look at statement 1 alone, right? Either it is sufficient or it is not sufficient to find your answer. Whether it is sufficient or not sufficient, you have to look at statement 2 alone. If statement 2 also is not sufficient, if both of them are not sufficient individually, right, then you look at them together. But if statement 1 is not sufficient and statement 2 is sufficient, in this case, I can find the answer by one statement alone. So I will mark option 1. Right? But if it is insufficient for both, then I will look at them together. If together they are sufficient, then I'll mark option 3 using both together. If not sufficient, then I will mark option 4. Right? If I look at the second statement alone here, from starting with the first statement sufficient, second statement not sufficient, I will again mark 1. But if second statement is also individually, each of them are sufficient, then I'll mark option 2. So you have to first look at statement 1 alone, then you have to look at statement 2 alone, and depending, right, on which part of the tree you are in, you will either mark 1, 2, 3 or 4. Okay, so great. Let's now do this particular question. You have Zakib spends 30% of his income on his children's education and 20% on recreation, 10% on healthcare. Supriyo is 40%, 25% and 13%. Who spends more on children's education? So we have to compare basically 30% of Zakib's salary with 40% of Supriyo's salary. This is what we need to compare. Okay, which is greater? Now Zakib spends more on recreation than Supriyo, which means that 20% of Z is more than 25% of S. Now, I don't need to compare two numbers in the ratio 4:5. I need to compare two numbers that are in the ratio 3:4, right? So if I want to find out is 30% of Z greater or 40% of S greater, it's the same as finding whether 3Z is more than 4S or less than 4S or not, right? It's basically comparing two numbers that are in the ratio 3:4. Now here the ratio is 4:5. Okay, so if I look at 25%, let's fix this 25% of S, then I should be able to compare 18.75% of Z. Because if this is true, if I can say that this is true, then you can multiply both of them, right, with a number which is basically 8/5. Right, you can multiply it with 8/5 on both the sides and hence say that 30% of Z is greater than 40% of S. Okay, so I need to see whether, now I know this is true, okay, 20% of Z is greater than 25%. But does that mean that 18.75 is also greater? No, 20 may just be greater, right? And which means 18.75 may be greater or may be less also. So alone this is not sufficient. Okay, so this is one way of solving, guys, if you like it. Another method that you may want to look at, right? So please make note of this method. This is one method of comparing. The other method is to say, okay, to find out whether it is true or not, right? Whether I can find out about children's education based on recreation, right? I will say, okay, what if they're just equal? So Zakib just spends a little bit more than Supriyo on recreation. So how much is Zakib making then? So if 20 into something is just equal to 25 into something else, right? This is Zakib here, this is Supriyo here, right? That means this number is 5 and this number is 4. Even if this is 5.000 something, Zakib will become greater. So is this 5 and 4 sufficient for me to find out who's spending more on children's education? So here I have 3 into 5 and because it's 30%, right, of Zakib, and here I have 4 into 4. So I have 15 on one side and I have 16 on the other side. Now 15 is the lowest possible. I've taken the lowest possible. Zakib could easily be 6. Zakib could be 7, 8, 9, 10, and this will still work. But this less will suddenly then become greater. So this is not sufficient. First, hence is not sufficient. Now let's look at the second part. Supriyo spends more on healthcare than Zakib. Where is the pen? Whoa, okay. Yeah. So Supriyo spends more on healthcare than Zakib, which means that 13% of S is more than 10% of Z, which means that 39% of S multiplying both sides by 3 is more than 30% of Z. Now if 39 is greater, guys, 40 has to be greater. So 2 alone is sufficient. If I use the second method now, right, then the smallest value for S is 10 and the smallest value for Z is 13. Now if I put these numbers, right, if I put 30 into 13 here, 30%, right, is Zakib. So I get 30 into 390 and here I get 400 and this is greater and it can only become more greater, right? So whichever method you use, 2 alone is sufficient. So answer is one statement alone is sufficient. So answer is option 1. That's your answer. Okay, let's look at the second question now. 4 candidates for an award obtained distinct scores in a test. Each of the 4 cast a vote to choose the winner of the award. The candidate who gets the largest number of votes wins the award. In case of a tie, the highest score wins the award. So there's a very clear process of who wins the award. Okay. Now the question is, finally we have to find out who wins the award. So the candidate with the top scores, top 3 scores, each vote for the top score amongst the other 3. Okay. So let's say there are 4 candidates A, B, C and D. Right. These are the top 3. A will vote for B because B is the largest amongst the 3. B will vote for A. C will also vote for A. Now D can vote for A, in which case A wins the award because A gets 3 votes, or D can vote for, let's say, B. Even if D votes for B, B and A are tied and A has the higher score, so still A will win the award, right? So 1 alone is sufficient, where you say that the top score A wins the award. Now the candidate with the lowest score votes for the player with the second highest score. Now this is just one, I have to look at it alone, remember. By itself, this doesn't give me too much information at all, right? So answer is, first statement alone is sufficient, which means we'll go for option 1. Okay. In a class of 30 students, Rashmi secured the 3rd rank among the girls. While her brother Kumar, studying in the same class, I'm hoping they're twins, right, secured 6th rank in the whole class. So Rashmi is 3rd among the girls and Kumar is 6th in the whole class. Between the two, who had a better overall rank? Kumar was among the top 25% of the boys' merit list in the class, in which 60% were boys. So out of 18 boys, right? How did I get 18, guys? 60% of total students of 30. So out of these 18 boys, right, top 25% is 4.5. So Kumar is one of the top 4. Okay. So Kumar can be 4th. Kumar can be 4th in the boys. In which case Rashmi, right, will be 7th or later. Because if Kumar is 4th, in the top 6, Kumar is now 4th amongst the boys. So there are only 2 girls. And Rashmi is not one of them. But Kumar could also be rank 3 in the boys or rank 2. And then there are more girls in the top 6. And Rashmi would then be in a higher rank than Kumar. So A alone is not sufficient. Because I know it is top 4 guys, but I don't know which rank Kumar has. Kumar may be first amongst the boys, which means out of the top 6, there's only one boy and the remaining 5 are girls, right? So A alone not sufficient. There were 3 boys among the top 5 rank holders. So there are 3 boys amongst top 5, which means including Kumar, there are 4 boys amongst the top 6 because Kumar is 6th. So if there are 4 boys among the top 6, that means there are only 2 girls among the top 6, which means Rashmi, who is 3rd, has to fall behind Kumar. So B alone is sufficient. Statement 2 alone is sufficient, which means one statement alone is sufficient. Again, answer is option 1, right? Next question. Tarak is standing 2 steps to the left of a red mark. And 3 steps to the right of a blue mark. Okay, so you have a blue mark here, right? And then you have a red mark. And Tarak is 2 steps to the left, which means this is 1 step to the left and this is where Tarak is, right? So in 2 steps, 1 step here on this blank and 1 step he'll reach the red mark. And in 3 steps, so first step, second step, and then he reaches the blue mark. Okay. So he tosses a coin. If it is heads, he moves towards blue. Otherwise, he moves 1 step to the left. So if it's tails, he moves 1 step to the left. He keeps doing this until he reaches one of the 2 marks and then he stops. At which mark does he stop? So you have to understand basically before even you start looking at options. Okay, for Tarak to reach the red mark, Tarak takes minimum of 2 steps. Minimum, right? 1 step, 2 steps. After this, Tarak has to compensate for any extra steps. So if he takes an extra step here and then comes back, he has to come back. So to reach the red mark, Tarak will always take the minimum plus a multiple of 2. Because for every extra step, he has to compensate. Similarly, to reach the blue mark, Tarak has to take a minimum of 3 and then he has to compensate for extra steps. So if he reaches an odd number of moves, he has reached blue mark. If he reaches an even number of moves, he has reached the red mark. Okay. So he stops after 21 coin tosses. So he stops after 21 coin tosses, right? That means what? That means he stops after odd number of tosses. That means he has reached a blue mark. So 1 alone is sufficient. He obtains 3 more tails than heads. So the total number of tosses will be 3 plus heads. These are the number of tails and the heads themselves. So the total tosses is odd. And if it is odd, I know clearly it's going to be blue, right? So where he lands up is not important, but it's a unique stop that is important. So each alone is sufficient, guys. In which case you will look at option 2, right? We can just go back and check whether each alone is option 2. It is, right? Each alone is option 2. Right? Great. Next question. So Ravi spends rupees 75 to buy 1 kilogram each of potato, onion and dudi, gourd, right? So this is 75. Which is the costliest? That's a question. So the first statement tells us that 2 kilos of potatoes plus 1 kilo of gourd, right, is less than 1 kilo of potato plus 2 kilos of gourd. So getting things right, just restructuring, potato is less than gourd. But do I know anything about onions? No. So 1 alone, not sufficient. 1 alone, not sufficient. Then 1 kilogram potato and 2 kilograms onion. So potato plus 2 of onion is equal to onion plus 2 of Goud, right? So now if I rewrite this, I'll get potato plus onion is equal to 2 of Goud, or better still, this is the average. G is the average of P and O. So clearly, right, G must be between P and O, out of which if P is less, O must be more. So alone, of course, it is not sufficient. I don't know P, whether P is greater or O is greater, but together I can say that if P is less, O has to be more, because G has to be in between. The average is always between the two numbers, right? And hence together we can solve. Answer is option 3, right? Great. Let's look at the next question. Last data sufficiency question. So Nandini paid for an article using currency notes of denominations rupees 1, rupees 2, rupees 5 and rupees 10, using at least one note of each denomination. The total number of 5 and 10 rupee notes, so let's say, right, just for argument's sake, that 1 rupee notes, 2 rupee notes, 5 rupee notes and 10 rupee notes. This is A, this is B, this is C, number of notes, right? Are A notes of 1 rupee, B notes of 2 rupees, etc. So total number of 5 and 10 rupee notes used was 1 more, right? So C plus D is equal to A plus B plus 1. What was the price of the article? Nandini used a total of 13 currency notes. So alone I can then make this breakup, right? That this is 7 and this is 6. Then I'll get 13. But I still don't know that how can I break up 7. I know, okay, one of each, but 7 can be broken up as 1, 6, 2, 5, etc. So 1 alone not sufficient. The price of the article was a multiple of rupees 10. Again, I can just have 10 in so many ways, right? I could have 10 and 2 5s, right? And then I can have 4 2s and 2 1s, and I could do multiple arrangements. So 2 alone not sufficient. Now how about them together, right? So together also, guys, forget this. I have to ensure that this is a multiple of either 5, right? Or it's a multiple of 10. So then this 5 and 10 is taken care of. But suppose I just look into it here. Here itself I have so many possibilities. I have 1, 5 rupees, right? And then I have 6, 10 rupees. And I can make this a multiple of 5 to get an overall multiple of 10. I could easily have 3 and 4. Right? So there are more than one possibility. So here there is not enough information even if you look at them together. So the answer is 4. Right? Great. Let's look at the next one now. You have the scorecards, right? You have Indian players from the 3 games in a one-day cricket tournament with the same set of players played for India, and all the other major batsmen got out. John summarized the batting performance through 3 diagrams, one for each game. In each diagram, the 3 outer triangles communicate the number of runs scored by the 3 top scores from India, where K represents Kaif, R represents Rahul, S represents Saurav, V represents Virender, Y represents Yuvraj. So there are, guys, 5 players. The middle triangle in each diagram denotes the percentage of the total score that was scored by the top 3 Indian scorers in that game. Okay, so I know the top 3 scorers. I can find that number, and then I can use the fact that it's 90% of something, right, to find the total India score. Okay. John also calculated 2 batting indices for each player based on his scores in the tournament. The R index of a batsman is the difference between his highest and lowest scores in the 3 games, while the M index is the middle number if his scores are arranged in a non-increasing order. So there are 3 games. So there are, at max, each batsman has 3 scores. Great. Let's get this all properly in a good format so that we can access all the numbers very easily per player. See, we are going to be concerned with batsman's R index, M index, right? So per player, I need to see his or her scores. Okay, so let's fill this up. For Pakistan, we have Y as 40, V as 130, K as 28. So Y is 40 for Pakistan, V is 130 and K is 28. Now these three scores, the top three scores guys, is 198 and this is 90%, right? If you check, this is 90%, which means the total score India would have made, right, is 220. Which means the other batsman, Max, can make 198 is already taken up. The other two batsmen can maximum make 22. So it is less than 22. Okay, great. Now let's see the same numbers for South Africa. You have K as 51, S at 75 and R at 49. Okay, so you have K as 51, R as 49, S as 75 and the percentage here is 70%. So if you add it up guys, you get 175, 175 is 70%. So total score here was 250. So you have an extra 75 left to be distributed. Now, obviously, V or Y cannot score 75 because the top three may, the third is 49. So V and Y have to score less than 49. Okay. Now Australia numbers. R is 55, S is 50 and Yuvraj is 87. R is 55, S is 50 and Yuvraj is 87. So if you add up these numbers, you get 192. 192 is 80%. So total was 240. How much is left? 48 is left. So these guys, and 48 is also less than the third score. So they have to score at least 48. At max 48 actually, and not even 48, right? So great. Now we can start looking at the questions. How many Indian players is it possible to calculate the exact M index? So to calculate the exact M index, I need to know very clearly what the middle number is, right? So for KEF, if we check, right? For KEF, if we check, guys, the middle number could be the Australia number. KEF could have scored 40 in Australia, or KEF could have scored 0 in Australia, which means Pakistan can become the middle number. So I cannot count KEF, right? So KEF I cannot count. Let's see. Can we count Rahul? Now Rahul ka highest number is 55. Second highest is 49 because the third highest has to be this number. So for Rahul, I can calculate the M index. For Saurabh, right? You have the highest, you have the second highest, this has to be the third highest. So even for Saurabh, we can calculate the M index. For Vijender, I know the highest, but I don't know both the second or the third highest, so not possible. For Yuvraj, I know the highest. 40 could be the second highest, could be the third highest based on South Africa's score. So again for Yuvraj, not possible. So only for two batsmen can we find out the M index, and hence the answer is option 3. Among the players mentioned, who can have the lowest R index? Okay, so who can have the lowest? So we really don't know the numbers, right? So in which case can we have the lowest R index? And if you just check the players here, the players are KEF, Rahul and Yuvraj. We have to check between them. Can KEF have the lowest? Right? Can Rahul have the lowest? Can Yuvraj have the lowest? So First of all, the lowest R index, right? What is R index? R index is highest minus lowest. This number has to be small. That is when you have, right, smallest amongst the others. So if you check KEF, right, KEF ka R index has to be 51 minus 28 if this number is in the middle, right, which works out to 23, or less if this number is smaller. Now if this is 23, so we are just writing the range, right? KEF can be 23 or less. Okay. Let's just keep the thing neat. Okay. So this is KEF. For Rahul, what is the range? Rahul, you have 55 highest. Pen. Okay. 55 is the highest for Rahul, right? And the lowest has to be this number. So the range for Rahul is 55 minus 21, or even 22 is also possible, right? Because the possibility comes from where the third guy is. So 22, Rahul can score 22, everybody else can score 0, right? So Rahul can be 33 or more. Okay. Then if you're looking at S has to at least be 75 minus 22. So which is basically 53. So S cannot be the lowest R index because KEF ka highest itself is 51. So KEF ka R minus H, right, can maximum be 51, whereas iska to minimum is itself 53. So S is out. If you look at Vijender ka greatest, right, if I find the greatest possible third score here, that will be 47. So 130 minus 47, Vijender can have a very high R index. This is close to 83. And if he gets 0 in any of these, then his R index is in fact 130. So Virender also cannot be the cannot be the lowest. Yuvraj, on the other hand, could have 87 minus 40, which is 47, right? Or Yuvraj could have 87 also if he gets 0. So if the numbers are right, if KEF, for example, gets 0 in Australia, if KEF gets a 0 in Australia, KEF's R index will be 51. And then Yuvraj can be at 47, Yuvraj can be lowest. Rahul can also be the lowest, right? So Rahul, KEF or Yuvraj, any of these three can be the lowest, whereas these guys, minimum values itself are greater than other values, so they cannot be the lowest, right? So answer is the first option. How many players among those listed definitely scored less than Yuvraj in the tournament? So you have to find Yuvraj's possible range, and you want to show that definitely scored less than Yuvraj. So what is Yuvraj ka range? Yuvraj has at least scored 127 if he has scored 0 in South Africa, or max Yuvraj ka score is going to be 40 plus 48 plus 127, right? So it is 175. But if I want to show that definitely scored less than Yuvraj, so that person must have definitely scored less than 127. That's what I need to show. So now if I check for KEF, so to show definitely less, I have to find the maximum score of KEF. I can't find the minimum score of KEF, right? Because what if he scores more than that? Then he may score more than Yuvraj. To show that Kef has definitely scored less than Yuvraj, I need to compare maximum of Kef with minimum of Yuvraj. So Yuvraj minimum is 127. What is maximum that Kef can score? Kef can score 28 plus 51 plus 47, right? Actually, he can score 48 also, so we'll work with 48. So if you just check these numbers, this is 127, right? Now if I check for Rahul, Rahul can score 22, 49 and 55. So 2 plus 9 plus 5, Rahul is 126. So Rahul can definitely scored less than Yuvraj. If I look at Saurabh, already two scores are 125, right? 75 plus 50, and the other score can be 10, 20, whatever. So I can't say anything about Saurabh. If we check Virender, right? Virender ka already यहाँ पे ही 130 है, so you obviously Virender also will not work. Yuvraj, if we check Yuvraj, so you can't check Yuvraj against himself. Okay, so your answer is only Rahul has definitely scored less. Kef can score equal to Yuvraj if he has scored 48 in the Australian test, right? So answer is one only Rahul, which is the second option. Which of the players had the best M index from the tournament? So the best M index, guys, you already found, right? Kef ka M index can be 28 to 51, anything, or 48 in fact, based on what he scores in the Australian match. Rahul can have an M index of 49. Rahul's M index is fixed at 49. Saurabh's M index is fixed at 50. Virender's M index, no idea, can be 0 also. Yuvraj's M index is 40, right? It can be 40, it can be even 49 if he gets a 49 here, right? Or 48 in fact. So the highest M index is 50 of Saurabh, right? Second option. Great, let's look at the next set. 21 participants from 4 continents. Which are the 4 continents? Africa, America, Australasia, and Europe attended a United Nations conference. Each participant was an expert in one of 4 fields: labor, health, population studies, and refugee relocation. The following facts about the participants are given. So you have 21 people from 4 continents, right? So I can break up the 21 people according to continents. I can also break them up according to the expert region. So it's better to work with a 2 by 2 table, right? So I've already got the table here. Now we can just fill up these numbers. That how many people from Africa have participated for labor, how many people have participated for America, right? We know that totally there are 21 participants. So this number is 21. Okay. The number of labor experts in the camp was exactly half the number of experts in each of the other 3 categories. So let's say the other 3 categories, which is health, right? They all 3 have to be equal first of all. That's why one can be half of each of the other 3. So health is equal to population studies is equal to refugee relocation is equal to, let us say, 2x. Then labor has to be half. Labor is x. So if I add up, right, all of these 3 have to be 21. So I'll get 6x plus x, right? 2x plus 2x plus 2x. 6x plus x as 21. I'll get x as 3. So there are 3 people in labor, experts, and there are 3 experts in health, 3 in population studies, and 3 in refugee relations. Africa did not send any labor expert, otherwise every continent, including Africa, send at least one expert for each category. So this, guys, is 0. Otherwise, every other cell has at least one number, which means this is 1, exactly 1, because we only have 3, right? And if one of them is 0, the other has to be 1, 1, 1. None of the continents sent more than 3 experts in any category. So maximum number that you can have now, because you've eliminated the zeros, is 1 or 2 or 3. These are the 3 possibilities. Maximum is 3. If there had been one less Australasian expert, okay, so Australasian expert mein there is one more, then the Americas would have had twice as many experts as each of the other continents. So ये एक expert को भूल जाओ for a second, right? So Americas will have twice, so it has 2x, which means Africa has x, right? Australasia has x and then extra expert, and Europe has x2. So all these add up to 21. So x will be equal to, just subtract that extra 1 and you have 5x is equal to 20, x is 4. So now we know these totals also, that this is 4, America is double, Australasia is 4 plus that extra expert, so 5, and this is also 4. And we know that, you know, you have at least 1 in each category now. So this has to be 1 and 1. Here one of them is 2, we don't know which one. But we have an extra information. Mike and Alfonso are leading experts of population studies from Australia. So population studies Australia, there are 2 people, so this also has to be 1 and 1. So this is what we can fill up. We can't fill up, we don't know where the 2 people are. So 4, of course, the breakup has to be 1 plus 1 plus 2. But we don't know where the, you know, whether it's in health, whether it's in population studies. If you see it row wise also, the 6 ka breakup can happen as 3, 1, 1. Here 3 can be here, 1 can be here. It can also happen as 2, 2, 1, 1. So we don't know anything else. Now we can start looking at questions. Which of the following combinations is not possible? So we'll have to check for each of these. 2 experts in population studies from the Americas and 2 health experts from Africa. Okay. So let's just keep this neat, so that we are not confused. You have to do it like this, guys, when you are taking the test also. You have to keep things neat. So 2 population studies, America, 2 health experts, Africa. 2 population studies, America. Is this possible? We just fill up the table now. We see that this number is 2, this number is 3, this number is 1, and this number is 1, and it is possible. All these numbers are possible. The 3 experts constraint is not nullified, right? And every category has at least 1 expert. So this is possible. Okay, let's rub this off now. Now let's look at the other one. 2 experts in population studies from the Americas and 1 health expert from Africa. So 2 from Americas population studies and 1 health expert. So if this is 1 and this is 2, this has to be 1, this is 2, this, guys, will be 3, and this will be 2. It is possible. Okay, so even the second option is possible. Now let's look at the third option. 3 refugee relocation and 1 health expert from Africa. 3 refugee relocation and 1, oh no, not here, and 1 health expert from Africa. Okay, so let's just rub this off. So this value has to be 1, this value is 2, this value is 1, and this value is 3. It's possible. Fourth option, Africa, America each had 1 expert in population studies. So if Africa and America each have 1 health expert in population studies, you will not get the sum of 6. You want the sum of 6, right? If this is also 1, this is also 1, you have a sum of 5. So that is not possible, and hence your answer is the fourth option. If Ramos is the lone American expert in population studies, which of the following is not true about the number of experts from the 4 continents? Okay, so America population studies, it's only one. Right, America for population studies, it's only one, which means that this is 2. So this is 1, this is 1, and this is 3, and this is 3. So now we can look at questions, options. There's one expert in health from Africa. That's true. You want not true. Please guys remember that you want to find out not true. There's one expert in refugee relocation from Africa. This is true. There are 2 experts in health from the Americas. There are 3 experts in health from the Americas. So third option is not true. This third option is not true. 3 experts in refugee relocation is also true if you check, right? Next, Alex, an American expert in refugee relocation, was the first keynote speaker in the conference. What can be inferred about the number of American experts excluding Alex? So if you look at, you just have to focus on refugee relocation में कितने लोग हो सकते हैं? That is the question. So let's rub off this thing. So you have 6 people in refugee relocation, right? So can I have only one person here? No, I cannot have one person, because then here you have 3 people and then you don't have enough for health and population studies. So 1 is not possible. Can I have 2? Yes, I could have 2, right? Then this works out to be 2 also. This is 1, this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So it works out. So I can have 2 speakers, not 1. So I need to have at least 1 more extra speaker, right? And can I have at most 2? See, 3 से ज़्यादा तो नहीं हो सकता. So can I have 2 basically is the question. 2 besides Alex. So totally can I have 3? I could have 3, right? 1 here, then this is 3. So I could put 2 here with 1 here, 2 here with 2 here, right? It's possible. There's more than one possibility in fact. So there are 2 possibilities. Besides Alex, there is at least 1 more speaker and at most 2 speakers. So both are true. You cannot have more than 2 and you need to have at least 1. Which of the following numbers cannot be determined from the information given? So we can determine the labor experts throughout, that we know. We can determine the Australasia and Europe figures throughout. Okay. So now we can quickly just eliminate. We know labor figures throughout, we know Europe figures throughout, we know Australasia figures throughout. What we don't know is Africa ka refugee relocation. So fourth option, right? Great. Let's look at the last set. So this really is a very, very, can I say it, ugly, very ugly set. A very difficult set, and in fact till 2003 the difficulty level of sets was average to a little above average. This was very, very difficult suddenly, and good students would not have attempted this set. In fact, it was difficult also and it was wrong also. So if you see the wrong part, we can just quickly check the wrong part, okay, here itself. That third round mein 3 teams played and there were 3 draws. All the 3 matches were draws. Now if you look at 5th round, Okay, fifth round में Spain won a match, Germany and Argentina won their matches, and Pakistan also won their fifth. So there were 5 winners in the fifth round, which means there should 4 winners, sorry, in the fifth round, which means that there should be at least 4 matches for 4 winners. But every round there are just 6 teams, so there are just 3 matches. So you see there are errors also. In fact, this third round, fourth round, fifth round information, because of the errors, is not even critical to solving the problem. The problem is mostly this part, the first 2 rounds. That's what you need to solve. You'll get 2 answers right? You will not be able to solve the third and the fourth question of this set because this information is inconsistent. Okay, so great. Let's see what is given to us. You have 6 teams in Pool A, and they play each other exactly once. Each team wins, which each win earns a team 3 points, a draw is 1 point, and a loss earns 0 points. The 2 teams with the highest points qualify for the semi-finals. In case of a tie, the team with the highest goal difference qualifies. In the opening match, Spain lost to Germany. After the second round, the pool table looked as shown below. So each round, right? Each round has the 6 teams playing against each other in 3 matches. So they are paired against each other. So in 2 rounds, right, you have 3 matches first round, 3 matches second round, totally 6 matches played. और ये 6 matches का आपको यहाँ पे breakup दिया है. So all the 6 matches, none of them are draw. So there are 6 wins here and 6 losses here, because every match is a win and a loss for some team, right? And you have goals for and goals against. Okay, so your analysis mostly is going to revolve around these goals. Okay, if this is the goal, who can the person have played with? So one thing we already know that Spain lost to Germany in the opening match. So Spain Germany का एक round में match हुआ है where Spain loses. Okay, so let's just get all this together now. We have the data here. So what are the options? Before we fill up, these are the the final answers. We'll just try and work some options out here. Germany won both the matches, and they won it with scoring 3 goals for and goals against is 1. So some team scored a goal against Germany. Germany still won that match, so Germany must have scored 2 goals against it, right? So Germany ka breakup is one of the matches it won by scoring 2 goals against the other team's 1 goal, and the second match jo bacha hai 1-0. This is the only breakup possible for Germany. Argentina, only breakup. So only breakup we can write it here. There are not 2 possibilities here. There's only 1 possibility. Now Argentina, guys, has scored 2 goals for and no goals against, and it has won both the matches. To win a match, you at least need to score 1 goal. So it has to be 1-0, 1-0. So this is very clear, 1-0, 1-0. Now Spain has played with Germany. So Spain ka match could have been the 2-1 match or the 1-0 match. Okay. So Spain ke liye there are 2 possibilities, guys. Let's write down the 2 possibilities. One is it has lost 1-0 against Germany. So 0-1, right? 1-0 for Germany is 0-1 for Spain, which means that the other game, right, that it won with 5-1. This is one possibility. The other possibility is that it lost this match to Germany. So 1-2, which means the remaining goals, right? What are the remaining goals? Goals against Germany is 2. Both of them were done by goals against Spain were 2. Both of them have been scored by Germany, right? So the remaining match, Germany didn't get any goals against, and it did 4, right? So 4 plus 1, 5, 2 plus 0, 2. So these are the 2 possibilities for Spain. Pakistan, you have goals for is 2, goals against is 1. Now, Pakistan has lost a match. It must have lost it when the goals against was 1, right? To lose a match, somebody else has to score a goal. So 0-1 is the one possibility for Pakistan. And then the second possibility is, I mean, there's only, in fact, one case. For Pakistan, there's a very clear one case. 0-1 it loses, 2-0 it wins. Now, if you check both the Spain possibilities, Pakistan could not, in fact, Spain we know, right? Spain is losing to Germany, so the other game Spain has won. So Pakistan and Spain, the other games, they must be winning against New Zealand and South Africa. So now we have to get New Zealand, South Africa possibilities. So here is a thought. New Zealand total goals against are 6. New Zealand has to play with Spain. Otherwise, New Zealand, if you see every other guy, and see, New Zealand, first of all, cannot play with South Africa because both of them have lost both their games. New Zealand and South Africa are playing against winners. So, New Zealand, if you see amongst all these other teams, right, no one has even got a 3 goals for. New Zealand, if you break it up equally, also you need at least 2 games of 3-3 each, right? So no one else has got 3. So Spain is the only one, right, which has got more than 3. New Zealand has to play with Spain. So now this 5-1 or 4-0 has to be with New Zealand. So we'll write down 2 possibilities for New Zealand based on the 2 possibilities for Spain. Okay. So the New Zealand 2 possibilities are, if I keep this in mind, it is 5-1. It's not 5-1, it is 1-5, right? We are just going to have a consistent way of writing. It has lost the match against Spain, so it is 1-5, right? And the other match must hence be 0-1. So this is one possibility based on this. The other possibility based on this is 0-4, correct? In which case this 1 has to be with 1-2. Now South Africa, there are a lot of possibilities, right? But nobody else has scored a 3 game. So the 4 goals against cannot be broken up as 4 plus 0 because both the games are losses. So 0 does not mean South Africa has lost. It cannot be broken up as 1 plus 3 because nowhere do we see a 3. So the only breakup possible for South Africa, guys, is a 2 plus 2 breakup where one of them will have a 1 goal for as well. I hope this is clear. See, this is a very, very confusing set, so that's why I'm writing down everything neatly, all possible options, right? South Africa has only one option. This is the option. Because we cannot break up South Africa as 4-0, South Africa has lost both the matches. To lose, somebody has to score a goal against you. So 4-0, not possible. 1 plus 3, not possible because no team before has a 3. It has to match, right? So the only possibility is 1, 2 and 0-2. So now if we start trying to pair them up, okay, this 2-1 needs a pairing. Now for the 2-1 pairing, then I can go for this option, but if I go for this option, then the New Zealand 2-1 pairing has no pairing. Okay, so the only possibility for Spain, right, is if I pair this here, then these two guys need to pair up, and that's not possible, guys, because New Zealand and South Africa are both losers. So this 2-1 matching with this 1-2, again, let me go through it slowly, right? If I match this, the point of having the 2 options for Spain was we're trying to match it with Germany. Spain and Germany played a match and Germany won. So if 2-1 is matched with this 1-2, then this 1-2 can only be matched with this 1-2, and then both of these guys have lost. Hence, this is not possible. Which means that Germany and Spain play together in one of the rounds, where Germany wins with 1 and 0. So this is the mapping 1-0. Okay, so this is the first round, one match. So I'm not going to care about rounds so much, but yeah. So the Spain ka second match is played with New Zealand. So second round, Spain plays with New Zealand. And what is the winner? So I'm putting the winner first. It is 5-1. And accordingly, we are getting rid of whatever has been matched. Where is the pen here? Yeah. Now Germany ka 8-1 can only be matched with the South Africa, and this has to come here. Germany and South Africa are coming here because Germany ka first round is here, right? And Germany wins. So as I said, I'm putting the winner first, and the goals are 1 and 2. So the South Africa 0-2 has to be with Pakistan, and that has to be this round. And who wins? Pakistan. We put Pakistan first, and this is 2-0. Now, which team is left here? Which two teams are left? It's New Zealand with Argentina. And who wins? Argentina. And here we have Argentina and Pakistan. And who wins? Argentina. So you see, guys, Pyar say you have to do this set, otherwise you'll get messed up. Now we can start looking at questions. So which one of the following statements is true about matches played in the first two rounds? First two rounds mein Germany beat New Zealand by 1-0. Is this true? Germany did not beat New Zealand. Spain beat New Zealand by 4-0. This we already know is not true. It is 5-1. Spain beat South Africa by 2-0. Did Spain beat South Africa? No, Spain beats New Zealand, right? Germany beat South Africa by 2-1. This is true. Germany did beat South Africa 2-1, right? So your answer is option 4. Which one of the following statements is true about matches played in the first two rounds? So you go to Pakistan, where the Pakistan is beating South Africa. No, Germany beats South Africa, right? So this is obviously one is not true. Germany beats Pakistan. No, Germany is beating Spain and Germany is beating South Africa. Argentina beat Pakistan. This is true. Germany beats Spain by 1-0. So fourth is also not true. So answer is the second option. As we said, right, we can't find out overall things after 5 rounds because the data is inconsistent. So the best thing that you need to do is mark option 4 in each and hope for the best, right? So great, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the session today. Here is the puzzle that we will solve in our next lecture. So just give it some thought. It's not a difficult puzzle and very valid for the kind of algebra questions you get in your CAT, right? Here is your reading assignment. Guys, do read up about how the ventilators came to be invented. I will see you again soon when we start off with 2004 maths on Sunday morning. And please, guys, you want to look for me, you want to look for other great educators, please come to Unacademy. We have a lot of 100 percentilers teaching you all. Great teachers, great content, great environment. What else do you want, right? Well, you could also have live classes and live doubt solving classes as well. So with subscription to go for, if you are focused on CAT 20, you must look at the 12-month subscription because you know you have XAT, you have CET, etc. And it's going to take more than 6 months, and there's hardly any difference between 6 months and 12 months, right? Logically, if you see. If you're focused on 20 or 21, you're not sure which one to go for, then you can look at the 24-month subscription, right? You can use my code Munira10 to get a great discount. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.